$50 million. This is what someone paid for a single home in San Diego County in 2025. And it wasn't even the only record-breaking luxury sale that year. In just 12 months, San Diego has recorded multiple sales above $20 million, dozens above $10 million, and one oceanfront property became the highest residential sale in county history. Most people still think of San Diego as a beach town, but what I'm about to show you reveals a very different story, and it may completely change how you see this city. When most people think about California luxury real estate, they think about Beverly Hills, Malibu, Bel Air, maybe even Newport Beach. But here's what most people do not realize. In September of 2025, a waterfront estate in La Jolla sold for $47 million. Just 6 weeks later, an oceanfront home in Del Mar sold for nearly $50 million, becoming the most expensive residential sale in San Diego County history. And today, across La Jolla, Del Mar, Rancho Santa Fe, and Coronado, there are 49 active listings that are above $10 million. This is no longer just a vacation destination. This is where entrepreneurs, professional athletes, private equity executives, founders, and global wealth choose to live. I'm a lifelong San Diegan and a graduate of UC San Diego in La Jolla, with my own son currently attending the University of San Diego. In fact, I raised all three of my children throughout La Jolla and Carmel Valley, sending them to schools there. And we've spent countless summer days on Coronado Island. Many of my current evenings end walking on the beach in Del Mar. I actually lived in La Jolla for almost a decade. I worked on the famous Prospect Street, people watching mostly. And back in my pharmaceutical sales days, my territory covered much of coastal San Diego. So when I talk about these communities, I'm not reading statistics from a spreadsheet. These are the neighborhoods where I've built my life, raised my family, and spent decades exploring every corner of this stunning coastline. And today, I'm taking you inside the places where San Diego's wealthiest residents choose to call home. My name is Ghada Benitez. I'm a licensed California realtor, a UCSD economics graduate, and someone who has spent a lifetime living and working throughout coastal San Diego. And I am your California Connect. Here's exactly what we're covering today. First, La Jolla, the crown jewel of San Diego luxury. I'm going to show you the streets, the neighborhoods, and the numbers that make it one of the most desirable communities in all of California. Second, Del Mar and Rancho Santa Fe. One offers some of the most expensive oceanfront real estate in America. The other is where some of San Diego's oldest and most private wealth quietly lives behind gates. Third, I'm going to tell you about the neighborhood I personally chose to raise my own family, and why so many successful professionals choose it over communities that are far more expensive. And at the end of this video, I'm going to share one surprising fact that ties all of these luxury markets together and explains why wealthy buyers continue competing for homes here. Stay with me. Let's start with La Jolla. If you've never been here, imagine dramatic cliffs dropping into the Pacific Ocean, seals sunbathing on the rocks below, kayakers paddling through the sea caves, and restaurants perched above the coastline where you can watch the sunset over the water while having dinner. This is where I lived. This is where I worked. And this is where I fell in love with San Diego long before I ever sold real estate here. La Jolla isn't simply a wealthy neighborhood. It's its own world. The median single-family home price sits at about $2.4 million, but that number barely scratches the surface of the luxury market. Because the real La Jolla, the bluff-top estates, the oceanfront compounds, the homes with direct beach access operates in an entirely different category. In 2025 alone, 17 homes sold for more than $10 million. To place that into perspective, only 6 homes across that threshold in 2024. The highest sale was a spectacular waterfront estate at 6026 Camino de la Costa, which sold for $47 million in September of 2025. And those 17 luxury sales averaged more than $15 million each. Think about that. 17 buyers, each writing checks, averaging more than $15 million in a single neighborhood. The ultra-luxury pockets of La Jolla each have their own personality. La Jolla Farm sits on some of the most valuable coastland in Southern California. The Muirlands offer sprawling estates hidden behind gates and mature landscaping. Camino de la Costa has produced some of the most expensive home sales in San Diego history. And La Jolla Shores, my own favorite, combines beachfront living with a walkable village atmosphere that families absolutely love. But what makes La Jolla special isn't just wealth, it's scarcity. You cannot build more coastline. You cannot create new bluff-top lots overlooking the Pacific. And you cannot replicate the combination of ocean views, world-class schools, village charm, UC San Diego, and year-round coastal living. And that's why buyers continue competing for these properties year after year. Not because they're trendy, because they're irreplaceable. Now, if you're thinking La Jolla represents the peak of San Diego luxury, I want you to see what comes next. Because the next community is smaller, more private, more exclusive, and it recently produced the most expensive residential sale in San Diego County history. Let's head north to Del Mar. Del Mar. This is where I go when I want to slow down. There's something about Del Mar that feels different from anywhere else in Southern California. Maybe it's the scale. Maybe it's the village atmosphere. Maybe it's the fact that you can walk from the beach to dinner in just a few minutes and still feel like you've escaped the rest of the world. Many of my days are spent at One Paseo, dinners recently at Steak 48, and evening walks along Del Mar Beach. Watching the sunset, listening to the waves, and being reminded why people from all over the world dream of living right here. Del Mar isn't large. In fact, that's part of what makes it special. There simply isn't much land, and there are even fewer opportunities to own property directly on the ocean. Over the last 12 months, Del Mar's median single-family home sale price was approximately $3.5 million. The average sale price was nearly $4.72 million. But the real story isn't the average. The real story is who chooses to live here. Did you know that Bill Gates owns an oceanfront home right in Del Mar? I walk by it quite often. Private equity billionaire Egon Durbin purchased an oceanfront property here for approximately $44 million. And in October of 2025, an oceanfront estate at 2920 Camino del Mar sold for $49.999 million, the highest residential sale in San Diego County history. Think about that. The most expensive home ever sold in San Diego, in Southern California. No, it wasn't in Beverly Hills. It wasn't in Malibu. It wasn't Newport Beach. It was right here in Del Mar. The most coveted section of Del Mar is known as the Beach Colony, a rare collection of oceanfront and near oceanfront properties where opportunities to buy are incredibly limited. When homes become available here, buyers pay attention because they know another opportunity may not come along for many years. And what makes Del Mar extraordinary is not just the ocean. It's the lifestyle, the walkability, the privacy, the greenery along the ocean, a charming village atmosphere, and a coastline that feels just as beautiful today as it did generations ago. That's why some of the wealthiest people in America continue choosing Del Mar. Now, here's something I wish someone had explained to me years ago. Because when people think about luxury real estate, they almost always focused on the coast. Understandably, ocean views, beachfront homes, sunsets. But some of San Diego's wealthiest residents don't want those. Instead, they chose acreage, privacy, horse trails, and estates hidden far from public view, which brings us to Rancho Santa Fe. Rancho Santa Fe is unlike anywhere else in San Diego County. If La Jolla is where wealth enjoys being seen, Rancho Santa Fe is where wealth prefers privacy. This is old California. Large estates, private roads, equestrian trails, and mature trees. Homes that sit on multiple acres rather than multiple lots. Some people move here because they want more space. Others move here because they don't want to see their neighbors. And some move here because they've spent decades building wealth, and now they want a place where they can enjoy it quietly. The numbers tell an incredible story. In 2025, Rancho Santa Fe's median home sale price was approximately $4.9 million. The average sale price exceeded $5.7 million. 76 homes sold between $5 and $10 million. 18 homes sold between $10 and $20 million, and one property sold for more than $20 million. That's a tremendous amount of luxury activity for a community of this size. But what makes Rancho Santa Fe special isn't simply the price point, it's the lifestyle. The community traces its roots back to the 1920s and remains one of Southern California's most prestigious addresses. Golf, equestrian culture, privacy, security, space, and a level of exclusivity that is difficult to replicate anywhere else. Many of the area's most significant homes are marketed quietly through private networks and agent relationships before they even reach the broader public. That doesn't mean that homes sell off market, but it means that relationships matter here, and often the best opportunities are the ones everyone sees online. This is where founders come after selling companies, where executives relocate after successful careers, where professional athletes can enjoy privacy, and where families create multi-generational estates intended to be passed down for decades. Rancho Santa Fe isn't trying to impress anyone, and that's exactly what makes it that impressive. By the way, if you're watching this and wondering which of these communities may fit your lifestyle, that's exactly the conversation I love having. Not every buyer belongs in La Jolla, and not every buyer belongs in Rancho Santa Fe. And sometimes the perfect fit is a neighborhood people weren't even considering at the beginning of the search. My contact information is in the description below. Please feel free to reach out. Now, let me tell you about the neighborhood I personally chose for my own family, Carmel Valley. This is where I've raised all three of my children, where they went to school, where we built our lives, and where I still completely am at home today. What's fascinating about Carmel Valley is that it offers something many luxury buyers eventually realize matters more than the size of the house: convenience, community, and quality of life. Carmel Valley sits right aside Del Mar, just minutes from the beach and minutes from La Jolla, from Torrey Pines, from UC San Diego, from UTC, close to some of the most sought-after schools in the region. This community attracts successful professionals from every industry, from biotech executives, physicians, attorneys, technology leaders, entrepreneurs, people who could choose almost anywhere to live. Yet, they choose Carmel Valley. Not because it's the most expensive neighborhood in San Diego, but because it delivers an incredible lifestyle, fantastic schools, beautiful green parks, gorgeous streets, safe neighborhoods, family-focused communities, and access to everything that makes coastal San Diego special. From my own home, I can be in Del Mar in minutes, in La Jolla in minutes. I can enjoy everything the coast has to offer while still enjoying the sense of community that Carmel Valley provides. And for many successful families, that's exactly the balance they're looking for. Now, there's one final place we need to visit. And it's probably the most iconic community in all of San Diego. Surrounded by water, home to one of America's most famous hotels. And once you spend time there, you'll understand why so many people never want to leave. Let's head to Coronado. Coronado. There is simply nowhere else in San Diego, California, or the U.S. just like it. I've spent countless summer days on Coronado Island, riding bikes along the waterfront, walking Orange Avenue, meeting friends for lunch, and ending the day watching the sun disappear behind one of the most beautiful beaches in all of California. The moment you cross that bridge, that iconic Coronado Bridge, something changes. The pace slows down even more. The streets become even quieter and the views open up. And suddenly it feels like you've stepped into a completely different world. On one side of the island, you have sweeping views of the San Diego skyline across the bay. On the other side, the Pacific Ocean stretches as far as the eye can see. And right in the middle sits one of the most iconic landmarks in California, the Hotel Del Coronado. Built in 1888, this is a National Historic Landmark, a destination that has welcomed presidents, celebrities, royalty, and visitors from around the world for generations. And after a restoration investment exceeding $550 million, the Hotel Del Coronado remains one of the crown jewels of Southern California. The homes surrounding it are some of the most desirable in the region. Let's talk numbers. Over the past 12 months, Coronado's median single-family home sale price was approximately $3.3 million. Recent sales activity produced an average sale price exceeding $5.7 million. But just like La Jolla and Del Mar, the true luxury isn't defined by averages. It's defined by scarcity. Because there's only one Coronado. Only one island community connected to downtown San Diego by a bridge. Only one place where you can walk from a historic hotel to the beach, then to dinner, then home, all without getting in your car. And that's why people fall in love with Coronado and why so many move here never want to leave. So that's the full picture of where the ultra-wealthy live in San Diego. La Jolla, Del Mar, Rancho Santa Fe, Carmel Valley, Coronado. 5 communities, 5 completely different lifestyles, 5 completely different definitions of success. But before we finish, there's one thing almost every luxury buyer eventually realizes, and it's the one factor connecting every neighborhood we've talked about today. Scarcity. That's a secret. Not trends, not headlines, not hype. Scarcity. In 2025 alone, La Jolla recorded 17 home sales above $10 million. Today, across La Jolla, Del Mar, Rancho Santa Fe, and Coronado, there are only 49 active listings above $10 million. Think about that. In a county of more than 3 million people, there are fewer than 50 opportunities available right now above that level. The highest active listing currently on the market is nearly $85 million in Rancho Santa Fe. And over the past 3 years, these luxury communities have recorded 12 sales above $20 million. The ultra-wealthy aren't simply buying houses. They're buying things that cannot be recreated. Oceanfront land, bluff-top views, island living, estate acreage, walkability, privacy, lifestyle, access. The reason La Jolla commands extraordinary prices isn't because someone decided it should. It's because there are only so many bluff-top homes overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The reason Del Mar continues attracting billionaires isn't because it's fashionable. It's because there are only so many oceanfront properties in a village that small. The reason Rancho Santa Fe remains one of California's premier estate communities isn't because of marketing. It's because large private estates and a community like that are extraordinarily difficult to replace. And the reason Coronado remains so desirable is simple. There's only one Coronado. When something becomes truly irreplaceable, wealthy buyers compete for it. And that's exactly what we're seeing across San Diego's most prestigious neighborhoods. If San Diego is on your radar, I'd love to hear your story. Tell me what kind of lifestyle you're looking for. Tell me what matters most to you. Ocean walks? Walkability? privacy, schools, investment potential, family life. Whatever your priorities are, every neighborhood we've discussed today offers something different. I've lived here. I've raised my family here. I've worked through these communities. And I'd be happy to help you understand which area aligns best with your specific goals. My contact information is in the description below. Send me a message. I personally respond to every inquiry. And if this video gave you a perspective on San Diego that you couldn't get from simply searching online, I hope you'll subscribe. This channel is all about helping you understand not just where people live, but why they choose to live there. The neighborhoods, the lifestyle, stories, some personal, and the opportunities that make San Diego one of the most desirable places in the world to call home. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.